you're probably spending a small fortune without even realizing it. Right now, somewhere inside an old drawer, a dusty coin jar, or maybe even your pocket change, there could be a coin collectors would fight over in private auctions for hundreds of thousands of dollars. These are not fantasy coins locked inside museums. These are real American coins people accidentally use every single day. And today on Rare Coin News USA, we're exposing 3 ultra-rare wheat pennies and war nickels hiding silent fortune in plain sight. Do not spend these coins. Seriously. Some of these pieces have created real auction shock. And the deeper we go, the crazier the values become. The first coin already sounds unbelievable. But what comes next is even more dangerous to ignore. So stay till the end, because these coins change everything. The 1956 wheat penny with no mint mark is one of those coins people ignore instantly. And that is exactly why it has become such a dangerous hidden treasure. At first glance, it looks ordinary. Old, brown, worn down, maybe dirty. dirty. Most people would toss it into a cash register without thinking twice. But collectors see something completely different. They see a silent fortune sitting unnoticed in circulation for decades. And if you ever find one in fine condition with original surfaces untouched, you could literally be holding serious money in the palm of your hand. This is not fiction. Some collectors become obsessed with this exact penny because the moment they see the date 1956, their entire attitude changes. What makes this coin even more emotional is the time period it came from. America in 1956 was exploding with economic growth after the pressure of World War II and the Korean War years. Families were building new lives, highways were expanding, businesses were booming, and the United States Mint was producing massive amounts of coinage to keep up with a fast-moving economy. That production pressure matters more than people realize. When mints are forced to strike millions upon millions of coins quickly, dies wear down harder, quality control changes, and survival decades later becomes far more difficult than most people understand. Coins from this era were not protected. They were spent aggressively, dropped into vending machines, shoved into pockets, and forgotten in drawers for generations. The Philadelphia Mint produced the 1956 wheat penny without a mint mark, and that missing mint mark has become a huge obsession in the coin world. New collectors often think no mint mark means the coin is worthless, but experienced buyers know better. Sometimes the absence of a mint mark creates an entirely different level of demand because collectors want complete sets from specific mints and years. And when they find a survivor with strong detail still visible after nearly 70 years, competition quietly becomes intense. Auction rooms can go strangely silent before bidding suddenly explodes. That's the kind of emotional behavior this penny creates among serious Lincoln cent collectors. Now look closely at the design, because this detail changes everything. On the front of the coin, you'll see Abraham Lincoln facing to the right, designed by Victor David Brenner. Above Lincoln's head is the word Liberty, while the date 1956 appears clearly on the right side. The phrase "In good we trust" stretches across the top edge. Even in fine condition, collectors inspect the sharpness of Lincoln's jawline, hair detail, and coat lines with incredible obsession. Tiny differences matter. On the reverse, the famous wheat ears curve along both sides of the coin, giving the wheat penny its legendary nickname. Between those wheat stalks are the words 1 cent and United States of America, followed below by the powerful phrase E pluribus unum. To most people, it's just old pocket change. To collectors, it's American history frozen into copper. And the physical feel of this coin is part of its identity. The 1956 wheat penny weighs approximately 3.11 grams and carries that classic bronze composition made from 95% copper with small amounts of tin and zinc blended inside. The diameter measures around 19.05 millimeters, while the thickness sits near 1.52 millimeters. Its smooth edge, often called the girth by collectors informally, gives it that unmistakable old-school Lincoln scent feel the moment it lands in your hand. Experienced collectors can sometimes identify older wheat pennies instantly just by the sound they make against a table. That deep copper tone feels different from modern scents, and that emotional connection drives demand higher every year. But here is where people make a devastating mistake. They clean the coin. The second someone scrubs away the darkness, original toning, or antique surface texture, the value can collapse permanently. Collectors do not want shiny fake brightness. They want originality. They want the natural brown layer that formed over decades. They want the quiet aging that proves the coin survived honestly through American history. A naturally toned 1956 wheat penny with authentic surfaces can trigger fierce collector attention, while a cleaned example often gets rejected immediately. Never clean this coin. Even wiping it gently can leave hairline damage professionals spot within seconds. And professional grading is absolutely critical here. Most people completely misjudge condition. A coin that looks average to a non-collector might actually carry important surviving detail that dramatically changes its market value. Grading companies inspect every tiny feature under magnification: Lincoln's cheek, the wheat lines, rim sharpness, surface preservation, and color consistency. One small difference in preservation can mean the jump from a common value penny to a hidden wealth situation worth thousands, or in extraordinary market conditions, far beyond what ordinary people expect. What really pushes this coin into another category is survival rarity. Think about how many 1956 pennies were destroyed over the decades. Melted accidentally, lost forever, corroded by moisture, scratched beyond recognition. Children spent them on candy. Adults ignored them during financial changes. Yet somehow, a few survivors escaped all of that damage. Those surviving examples become emotional targets for collectors building complete wheat penny collections. And because many advanced collectors refuse to sell once they own a strong example, supply keeps shrinking quietly year after year. Today, in the right fine condition state with strong collector appeal and authentic surfaces, this 1956 no mint mark wheat penny has reached auction levels around $247,000. Let that sink in for a second. A single penny. 1 cent. The kind of coin people spill on the floor and ignore. That is the definition of hidden treasure hiding in plain sight. Imagine spending that by accident at a gas station or leaving it forgotten in an old family jar. This is why people across America are suddenly checking pockets, drawers, piggy banks, and inherited collections with total obsession. So before you spend another old penny, stop and check the date carefully. Look for that 1956. Look for the missing mint mark. Look for original color and untouched surfaces. Most people miss this. Patience creates wealth in the coin world, and sometimes the quietest looking coin becomes the loudest financial surprise of your life. And trust me, the next coin is even more shocking. What collectors are paying for it right now has created absolute auction chaos. And the tiny detail driving the value is something almost nobody notices until it's too late. The 1944 with Jefferson War Nickel is the kind of coin people throw into a tip jar without a second thought. And that's exactly what makes it terrifying. Somewhere out there, right now, somebody is accidentally spending one of these coins at a grocery store. dropping it into a parking lot, or leaving it forgotten inside an old junk drawer. Most people see an old nickel with a strange dark surface and instantly assume it's damaged. But collectors? They stop breathing for a second when they see that deep black layer covering the coin naturally. Because this is not ordinary pocket change. This is a wartime survivor carrying hidden wealth most Americans never notice. What makes this coin feel so different starts with the year itself, 1944. America was deep inside World War II. Factories were roaring day and night. Families were under pressure. Soldiers were overseas. And the United States government desperately needed strategic metals for military equipment. Nickel metal became critically important during the war, and the U.S. Mint was forced into emergency changes that transformed the Jefferson nickel forever. This is why collectors obsess over the war nickels. These coins were born during one of the most emotionally intense periods in American history, and every scratch, dark tone, and worn surface feels connected to that era. The San Francisco Mint struck this particular 1944 Jefferson War Nickel with the large S mint mark above Monticello on the reverse side. That giant mint mark became a historic symbol because wartime nickels needed to be identified differently from normal nickels. Most people never notice it. Collectors absolutely do. The second they flip the coin over and see that oversized S, the entire mood changes. Suddenly, the coin becomes more than money. It becomes a wartime artifact that survived decades of circulation, economic shifts, family inheritances, and careless spending habits. And here's where the story gets even crazier. Many surviving 1944 with S war nickels developed a dark black layer over time because of the silver alloy inside the coin reacting naturally with the environment across decades. Most ordinary people think this dark surface looks ugly or dirty. Huge mistake. Experienced collectors often love that antique black toning because it proves originality. It tells a survival story. It creates emotional depth. Some collectors actually prefer naturally dark war nickels because the coin feels untouched and authentic, like it escaped directly from the 1940s. This detail changes everything. Now look carefully at the front design of the coin. On the obverse, Thomas Jefferson faces left with the word Liberty stretching along the side and the date 1944 positioned near the edge. The motto, "In Good We Trust," appears clearly beside Jefferson's portrait. Even in fine condition, collectors study Jefferson's hair detail, cheekbone sharpness, jawline, and the texture around the lettering with incredible obsession. Tiny details matter. A softer strike or excessive wear can completely change collector behavior. This is why professional grading becomes critical with war nickels. Flip the coin over and you'll see the famous Monticello building dominating the reverse side. The structure appears bold and powerful even after decades of wear. Above it are the words E pluribus unum, while below sit Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. But the real attention magnet is that massive S mint mark sitting above Monticello. That mint mark became legendary because wartime production created an entirely different category of American coinage collectors still chase aggressively today. And the physical feel of this coin is something serious collectors instantly recognize. Unlike modern nickels, the 1944 war nickel carries a unique metal composition containing 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese. That composition was created because wartime America needed standard nickel metal for military production. The coin weighs approximately 5 grams, with a diameter near 21.2 millimeters and a thickness around 1.95 millimeters. Its smooth edge gives it that unmistakable wartime nickel feel when rolled across your fingers. Some experienced collectors claim they can identify a silver war nickel almost instantly just from the sound it makes hitting a tabletop. What makes survival today so difficult is that many war nickels were heavily circulated during and after the war years. These were not protected collectibles at the time. Americans spent them constantly during a period filled with uncertainty, rationing, and economic pressure. Children carried them. Soldiers used them. Families depended on them. Over the decades, countless examples were scratched, cleaned, corroded, or simply lost forever. That shrinking population is exactly why serious collectors become emotionally attached when strong survivors appear at auction. And this is where ordinary people destroy value without realizing it. They clean the coin. The second someone polishes away that natural black toning, the entire personality of the coin changes forever. Collectors do not want fake brightness. They want originality. They want the natural wartime surface that developed honestly over generations. A naturally toned black layer 1944 with S War Nickel can create intense bidding wars because advanced collectors know authentic surfaces are becoming harder to find every year. Never clean this coin. Even gentle rubbing can leave microscopic scratches professionals detect immediately. Auction behavior around these coins can become strangely emotional. Quiet rooms suddenly explode into aggressive bidding once two collectors realize they both want the same original survivor. And many collectors who finally secure a strong war nickel refuse to sell it again. That creates shrinking supply and rising pressure in the market. Demand keeps climbing because younger collectors are now discovering wartime coinage and realizing these pieces are physical reminders of American survival during World War II. Today, in fine condition with authentic black toning and strong original surfaces, the 1944 with S Jefferson War Nickel has reached market values around $114,000. Think about that for a moment. A coin most people mistake for damaged old pocket change can secretly carry life-changing opportunity. That is hidden treasure in its purest form. This is silent fortune sitting unnoticed inside old jars, inherited collections, abandoned drawers, and forgotten boxes across America. So before you spend another old nickel, stop and check the date. Look for 1944. Flip the coin over and search for that giant S mint mark above Monticello. Watch for the natural black layer collectors obsess over. And most importantly, never clean the coin. Originality is everything in this market. Patience creates wealth here. And the people who recognize these hidden details first are often the ones holding serious money years later. But don't relax yet, because the next coin is even rarer. Even scarier, and the reason collectors are hunting for it right now has created absolute chaos behind closed auction doors. Most people will miss the tiny detail that makes it valuable, and that mistake could cost them a fortune. There's a dangerous mistake happening across America right now. People are dumping old wheat pennies into coin machines, leaving them in gas station trays, tossing them into jars, and completely ignoring the tiny details that could change their financial future forever. And one of the biggest hidden treasures hiding in plain sight is the 1957 with D wheat penny with a strange brown spot on the front. Most people would look at that spot and think the coin is damaged or dirty. But collectors? They slow down instantly when they see original surface color patterns like this. Because sometimes the smallest detail becomes the reason a forgotten penny transforms into silent fortune. The terrifying part is how ordinary this coin looks at first glance. Nothing flashy, no gold shine, no dramatic error jumping out immediately. Just an old copper wheat penny from the late 1950s with natural aging spreading across Lincoln's portrait. But this is exactly why so many survive unnoticed for decades before somebody finally realizes what they've been holding. This is not fiction. Collectors quietly search through thousands of pennies hunting for original 1957 with D examples that still carry authentic surfaces, strong detail, and naturally aged color that was never destroyed by cleaning. And the timing of this coin matters more than people realize. America in 1957 was entering a completely different era. The economy was changing fast. Suburban life was expanding. Consumer spending was exploding, and the nation was standing deep inside Cold War tension. Factories were operating heavily, coin production remained enormous, and the Denver Mint was striking massive amounts of Lincoln wheat pennies to keep commerce moving across the country. But heavy production pressure creates something collectors understand very well. Surviving high-quality coins become harder to find decades later, because most were used aggressively in circulation. The Denver Mint marked this coin with a famous D mint mark below the date on the obverse side, and that tiny letter creates major emotional obsession inside the coin community. Some collectors specifically hunt Denver wheat pennies because they believe certain strikes carried stronger details or more attractive toning patterns over time. Others chase complete wheat penny sets and refuse to settle for weak examples. That's why even a fine-condition 1957 with D with original surfaces can suddenly attract aggressive bidding once collectors recognize the quality hiding beneath the wear. Now take a close look at the front of the coin because this detail changes everything. Abraham Lincoln's portrait faces right, designed by Victor David Brenner, one of the most recognized coin designers in American history. Above Lincoln appears the phrase, "I in God we trust," while Liberty sits to the left side and the date 1957 with the small D mint mark rests on the right. But what makes this particular coin emotionally powerful is that natural brown spot spreading across the front surface. Most people panic when they see discolorations. Experienced collectors often see originality. They see decades of untouched history sitting directly on the coin's face. Flip the penny over, and the classic wheat ears immediately bring that nostalgic old American feeling collectors love. One wheat stalk curves along each side of the reverse design surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America. Below appears E pluribus unum, tying the entire design together with that iconic wheat penny identity. Even after years of circulation, strong lettering and visible wheat lines can dramatically increase collector interest because survival with attractive detail becomes harder every single year. The physical makeup of this coin is also part of its legendary identity. The 1957 with D wheat penny was struck using 95% copper with a small mixture of tin and zinc, giving it that rich bronze appearance collectors obsess over. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams and measures about 19.05 millimeters in diameter with a thickness near 1.52 millimeters. Its smooth edge gives it the unmistakable feel of classic Lincoln cents that many older collectors recognize instantly by touch alone. Some experienced coin hunters claim they can hear the difference between old copper wheat pennies and modern cents the second they hit a tabletop. But here's where hidden fortunes disappear forever. People clean these coins thinking they are improving them. Huge mistake. The moment somebody scrubs away the natural brown toning or removes the antique surface texture, collector interest can collapse immediately. Original surfaces matter more than shiny brightness. Collectors want authenticity. They want evidence the coin survived naturally through decades of American history. That brown spot on the front is not automatically damage. Sometimes it becomes part of the coin's personality and survival story. Never clean this coin. Even a soft cloth can leave microscopic scratches professional graders spot instantly. And grading absolutely matters with coins like this. Professional grading companies examine every tiny feature: Lincoln's facial detail, surface preservation, color consistency, strike sharpness, rim quality, and overall originality. One small difference can completely transform collector demand. Most people think all old pennies are equal. They are not. Two coins from the same year can have dramatically different market behavior depending on originality and eye appeal. What makes this coin especially emotional for collectors is survival rarity. Millions were produced, yes, but very few survived decades of circulation with natural surfaces still intact. Many were spent endlessly, exposed to moisture, scratched inside pockets, or damaged through improper storage. Others were cleaned by well-meaning owners who accidentally destroyed their future value. Every surviving original example becomes harder to replace, and collectors know it. That shrinking supply is creating stronger competition every year. Auction rooms become tense when attractive wheat pennies appear because advanced collectors understand that once these coins disappear into private collections, they often stay there for decades. Many serious buyers hold them tightly, refusing to sell because they believe original wheat pennies continue gaining emotional and historical importance with time. Today, this 1957 with D wheat penny with original brown spotting and strong fine condition detail has reached market values around $172,000. Think about how unbelievable that sounds. A single penny people overlook every day, carrying the power of life-changing opportunity. That is hidden wealth in its purest form. Imagine accidentally spending that coin for 1 cent because nobody told you what to look for. This is why people across the country are suddenly searching old jars, inherited collections, drawers, and forgotten boxes with total obsession. So before you spend another wheat penny, stop and examine it carefully. Look for the 1957 date. Check for the D mint mark. Study the surfaces closely. Original toning matters. Natural brown spots can matter. And above all else, never clean the coin. Patience and knowledge create wealth in this world. And the people paying attention to tiny details are often the ones holding silent fortune without realizing it. And that's what makes these coins so terrifyingly exciting. From wartime nickels to forgotten wheat pennies, hidden treasure is still moving through everyday circulation while most people never even look down at the change in their hands. These coins are not just metal. They are pieces of American history carrying serious money potential that collectors are fighting harder to secure every year. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to Rare Coin News USA, because the next episode gets even crazier. We're exposing more ultra-rare coins hiding in plain sight that ordinary people are accidentally losing every single day. And trust me, the next hidden fortune we reveal might already be sitting in your pocket right now.